Warblunder Studios is proud to present an episode that we're going to entitle Tanks a Lot. Basically, while footage of my recent ground battles plays in the background for your edification, I'm just going to do a little freeform talking and just right off the cuff, no script or anything, just talking. Mostly for my own benefit, kind of a therapeutic thing, just things I need to get out there, and sometimes I just don't have anybody to talk to. My wife's at work, and we're busy with her children or grandchildren, and or the chickens or the dog, and I'm kind of isolated at times. If you notice by my handle in War Thunder, it's Crippled Old Grump. Well, 6.5 years ago, I was in a pretty horrible motorcycle wreck, and the best thing I can say about it is that I'm not paralyzed, even though I did break my back in 5 places, and I still have all my limbs, but I also have about 4.5, 5 pounds of additional stainless steel and titanium in the form of screws and plates and pins and just holding me together. I broke over 50 bones, and I had multiple fractures in some of the bones that I did break, so altogether my total fracture count was over, I think it was like 103 or something like that. But we're talking ribs and back and every joint and everything but my hips were at least somewhat compromised. But I bounced a motorcycle down the interstate at about 70 miles an hour due to no fault of my own. But no car was involved, so I slid, bounced, tumbled, cartwheeled, slid some more, ragdolled. I had a really good helmet on. I had really good gloves on. I had really good armored protective motorcycle pants on, but I had crappy shoes on and a crappy jacket, so I was lucky to live. They told my wife, I probably wouldn't make it through the first night, but altogether it took me 90 some days to get back home. But to this day I could walk some, like from piece of furniture to piece of furniture, but to walk any distance I definitely need a cane, and for more than 20 feet I probably need my crutches. In addition, see, that covers the crippled part. Old, well, I'm 63, going on 64. Kind of probably old for making YouTube videos and playing War Thunder, but, whatever. I'm young in my brain anyway, even though my body is failing me. And the grumpy part, well, my dog and my wife have both mentioned at times that I might not be the most pleasant person to be around. They're fine ones to talk. They could both be mean too, but anyway, so originally it was Della, which is the dog's name. Della's daddy, 1962, but I changed it to Crippled Old Grump because I think it seemed more appropriate. I've now been playing this silly, addictive, obsessive, crazy game for just a little bit over a year. I think January 30th was my anniversary date in the game, and I think I'm level 44 right now. I should be level 100 if I spent more time playing and less time analyzing every match and trying to make cutesy little compilation videos and things like that, and putting stuff on YouTube every week or so, and watching more videos of other people playing than I should be. Time I should have spent playing myself. But anyway, a lot of the people I have watched, I have some favorites. Oddballs, Bowtime Gaming, that whole crew over there. They're my entertainment. They're the ones I go to when I need a laugh. Oddballs too for a good laugh. I also enjoy Spookston, Godmind Man, BPA John, Fly Daily, a European guy named Weeby, Turney, Ewok, or not Ewoks, a guy I've recently been watching some of his stream. There's a few others. Tankenstein, Wait for Me, makes some map videos. There's a lot of great information and a lot of worth under entertainment out there, and I'm not attempting to compete or do anything. Like I said, most of these videos are therapy for my own little brain. But I had spent the 2 months previous to this one kind of concentrating on air, because I'd managed to start getting fairly decent at the aircraft, which is what I started playing this game for originally anyway, as I've mentioned in some of my previous videos. But I'm actually much better pilot than I am tank driver. In both situations, I get too anxious and get too excited and afraid I'm going to miss something out, and I push bad situations like a dumbass. And get a little blinded, kill hungry like everybody else does in the game. Get my blinders on and don't see the guy roll up right next to me before he blows my head off. But I've tried to get better, and I want to continue to improve. I get a lot of joy out of this game. I get a lot of aggravation, but you gotta have the salt with the sweet, and warm with the cold, and so forth. Variety is the spice of life. And War Thunder certainly is a variety. If you get bored with one nation, one timeline, one type of vehicle, there's so many different options. So many different ways to play. I do wish there was a little bit more PvE stuff for ground forces to do, to actually, even if it was at a slower rate, at least be able to grind some research points that way and some mods for your vehicles. I wish there was something other than the two assault things. But otherwise, I love this game. It's got faults, but I've had to resist the urge to not go completely crazy with buying premiums. I've done pretty good. I have bought some things. I've bought the Two Fronts pack, the German. I've bought the American and the British, plus the starter packs for those. And then I also bought the Grizzly. I bought some Golden Eagles and purchased some things with that too. So I keep myself in premium time, but I've only bought one battle pass the whole time. And right now I find that I've got too many vehicles for me to keep track of which ones need to be played, but I'm a collector. I'm out to get my way to at least battle rating 7-3, because I do want the Weasel, but I can give you a couple tips on how to not get better at this game. Like I said, one, either don't watch any kind of videos and learn anything about the game, or watch way too many and spend more time watching videos than you do playing. Number two way to not get any better at this game is to don't analyze your mistakes and keep doing the same dumb thing over and over. Rushing forward and charging blindly into the maw of certain defeat, trying not to help your comrades on your team. Don't ever repair anybody. Don't be courteous. Don't. There's lots of ways to learn to not be better. But with custom battles and the two assaults, the air and ground, you can practice before you get out and face other people. So there's resources to get better if you choose to. I think most people probably want to get better. And every time I think I'm the worst, I see people that are a lot worse. But that's probably about all for now for talking. There's a couple of nice little clips in here and a couple little sprees that I get on that I was kind of proud of. While I have American, German, and Russian all up to about the same BR right now, researched and purchased, and I'm working on the mods on them, up to, let's say, battle rating 5-7 for the Americans and the Russians, and I'm up to 7-0 on the Germans. Plus a smattering of some of the other countries. I've even started doing some British vehicles. Much to my chagrin to admit that, but it's been a wild ride along the way, and I've loved military vehicles my whole life and been waiting probably my whole life for something like this game, and this being able to this realistically, live out some of your dreams, your armchair general dreams, and armchair pilot, armchair tank driver. This particular reserve tier or battle rating 1.3 Panzer Ford C that I have more tank kills than any other ground vehicle. I finally learned to be halfway decent with that short-barreled 75. I know a lot of people use the heat round, a lot of people use the high explosive round for certain things. I have more luck with the high explosive, the APHE round than anything. I've also been lately trying to be sure I use my resources. The artillery strikes when I get them, and I'm getting quite a few kills that way. Usually every couple matches I'll get a kill or two, and besides just harassing the enemy. I got 2 artillery kills in this particular match that is on the screen right now. One of the things I've been meaning to mention is I mostly play arcade. I do play some in realistic, and people will scorn and scoff and look down their nose at you for playing arcade, but to a certain degree, I think arcade is actually harder than realistic. Sure, you get the little targeting cues, and you know where everybody's sort of at, or have a lot more clues about it. It's a lot easier to find people, but they can also find you a lot easier, and they can shoot you a lot easier, which means I think that makes it more difficult, more dangerous, kill per kill in arcade than it does in realistic. People tend to play a little slightly more reserved in realistic, I think. A little bit more, survival instincts kick in a little harder. I know I play a little slower. I'm not as charging straight into the jaws of certain defeat. I initially played the Soviet tech tree up to a certain point, and then I switched over and jumped into my true love, which was always been the German vehicles. Not for political reasons or any stupid things like that. I just admire the technology and the precision and the lethality and definitely not the political views. I am not a fan of anybody who purposely goes out of their way to make anybody else's life, either on a personal or local or national scale, difficult, either from within or from without. That's just not me. I studied military history my whole life, but I'm probably about as non-aggressive as you'll find. World would be a lot better if most of us were like that. Try to live and let live a little bit. Maybe that's one of the lessons of age I have learned. Try to laugh every day. I try to learn something every day. I try to do things to keep my mind active, even though physical things are difficult. There's no part of me post-wreck that's not at least somewhat compromised in one way or another. Plus, for the last 2 years now, I've been on continuous, really small amount of oxygen, so I have to trail around the house a stupid oxygen line, and if I go somewhere in the car, I have to have a little oxygen tank, or I have a little portable concentrator that plugs into the car charger or the wall that I can take with me too. But that's been kind of a restriction. But I still cook. I still do dishes. I still take care of the dog. I still chauffeur my wife because she doesn't drive everywhere she needs to go. Fix what things I can around the house. Build what things I can. And just try to keep my own spirits up because I still have things that I want to do. I still enjoy the life that I do have. I mean, I've got a wonderful computer. I've got access to just about every sci-fi show I ever loved in my life. I eat pretty decent. My wife loves me in spite of all my limitations, and I love her in spite of her limitations. But and that's really what all life's about: finding a partner, be it male, female, whatever, someone that you can feel comfortable with, and somebody who you just couldn't make it without, emotionally, maybe, or physically. That's the key to life. It took me a long time to see that. I'm very glad to have been with Diana now for over 20 years. If he'd have told me that 20 years ago, I'd have laughed. I think she would have too. Neither one of us. We were both on marriage too. For us, this is both of our second ones. Second and last. I don't have time or patience to train another if she decides to come to her senses and cut me off. But I want to thank everybody who has tuned in, who may now watch this or in the future, be it an hour from now, a day from now, a year from now, a century from now. Thank you so much for finding me, and just wanted to let you know a little bit about me. And we all have our daily struggles, and I struggle with not craving too many of these new Lyman hot Cheetos. That's one of the things I struggle with. I gave up cigarettes and all form of nicotine a long time ago and never was much of a drinker. Probably haven't had a drink in, it's probably 3-4 years. Pretty sure I still have a bottle of tequila up in the cabinet that my stepson gave me for my birthday. It hasn't even had the seal cracked on it yet. I try to eat decently. I mean, I eat tofu and mushrooms, and not exclusively, but yeah, food when you get to my age is one of the joys in life. That and a good, long, continuous, solid bowel movement. Plus, when you get to this age, you can say a lot of things that you probably wouldn't have when you were younger, and nobody really pays too much attention to you. But I'm making this video tonight. I was playing War Thunder, of all things, shortly before this, and you ever have any of those games that the best way you can describe it is, well, I only died twice. That was the extent of your gameplay there. No kills, no assists, no zones captured. You might have got a hit or two, but you didn't even get a critical hit on anybody. And you got your head smashed in 2 times within half a minute of joining battle. I had several of them in a row, so I decided to come out and finish this video, which I had the video part completed for, I don't know, a day or two now, and hadn't got to the voiceover yet because I really wasn't sure what I was going to say. And like all my videos, this one is just basically ends up me rambling and babbling and going on semi-coherently. But that's when, I don't script anything. I have a basic idea that I want to maybe talk about, but as far as scripting, perhaps I should. I might actually get some viewers in. Might get somebody to listen in. But this is therapy. It's meant to entertain me. And my granddaughters do like to watch the videos for some silly reason. But I shall endeavor in this and any further videos, like I always do, I don't try to say anything that will hopefully offend anybody. If I do offend anyone, it's not meant to, but if you can't take a joke, the rest of it. We should always try to find things to laugh about and smile about. You feel so much better when you do laugh and smile. And sometimes all we can do is laugh at ourselves, and I certainly give myself cause to every day. I've gained some wisdom over the years, but I've also lost some brain cells over the years too. Anytime anybody asks me, did you bump your head? I usually tell them repeatedly. Or, you mean today? I was going to call this episode Answers to Questions That Nobody Asks, but I figured that sounded too pathetic and desperate. Funny though. Alright, as we come to the conclusion, I'm going to leave you with a little song. And in the comments, I want somebody to write what was the origins of this song. I'm so glad we had this time together, just to have a laugh and sing a song. Seems like we just get started, and before you know it, comes the time we have to say so long, so long.